And then last, I wanted to talk a little bit about what happened today. So the city manager was at the Managers Conference for League of Cities last week, and he was asked if his mayor received a notice from the governor's office asking to meet. And so he called me immediately, and there was an email that was sent about an hour before he called me, and it was an invitation from the governor's office to meet. Now, if you'd watched the State of the State, which I watched most of it, the governor actually, one of his platforms is housing, and he wants to build a large amount of housing over the next 4 years. So he's proposing funding and all kinds of things. Now, when it comes to housing, he's focused on affordable housing. In the State of the State, there's 47 cities in the state of California out of the 451 that are not in compliance with the housing element of their general plan. We had been in compliance with our general plan, or our housing element, up till 2013. And then we were in the middle of a crisis, financial crisis. And if anybody's been following our updates to the general plan and housing element, it's cost us upwards of $500,000 to do that. So it was a pretty penny to get this done. And you have to do it a certain way through a very reputable firm. We use MIG. And we are in the process of finishing our housing plan. So I wasn't too worried about being called out by the governor because I know we will be in compliance very soon, meaning that we had just finished some of the public process. We're finishing all the CEQA documents, and it should be in front of the City Council. We're hoping August or September for final approval. At the same time, the general plan will be finishing not far behind that, and we'll be in full compliance. This is housing cycle 5 or 6. Yeah, so we're out of compliance on one of them. So what the governor had done was, when he said this, because he's already sued the city of Huntington Beach and he called out a city of Montebello, there was a little bit of backlash from some of the lobbying groups, such as the California League of Cities, saying, I don't think every city should be lumped into one. So he did something that I was very impressed with. He called all the city mayors that were out of compliance together for a roundtable discussion. And I immediately jumped on that RSVP. The city manager and I went down to Long Beach this morning, and we were able to meet, and 17 mayors showed up, including myself. And we were given a platform after the governor did a little opening to actually speak one-on-one with him and HCD staff, Housing and Community Development Department. I was able to tell the story of Desert Hot Springs, that we'll be in compliance very soon, that we have 22 square miles, that a third of our city is developed, a third of it's in multi-species habitat, and a third's undeveloped, and that we are holding major numbers for the RHNA here in Desert Hot Springs, which is unequitable throughout the Coachella Valley in the state. He took a lot of notes. He is proposing over $750 million in housing funding in the next budget cycle. And I asked, well, how can we get our piece? If you want us to build housing, affordable housing, then you need to give our developers incentives to do that. Because an affordable house in Desert Hot Springs is a single-family dwelling. People that don't want to rent and lease anymore, and they want to buy a house from $200,000 to $350,000. That's affordable to me. But that's my opinion. We still have to wait and see what he says is affordable. We still have to wait to see what his plan is going to be. But at least gave us an opportunity, and there was 3 other cities that were in the same boat as us that had different issues, such as the voters had to vote their housing plan in and have denied it twice. So how could they be in compliance? They're being sued, but how can they get in compliance because the voters won't vote for it? So there was I think he really understood at that point that you can't lump 47 cities together. It's different. And then we were able to meet with our Housing and Community Development Director Specialist who handles our city and make sure we're in compliance. And we were given some information. Some of the questions the city manager had was, how do we deal with these RHNA numbers? And as Mr. Betts said, who goes down to SCAG, which is the regional area for us down here, the numbers are given to them and then they have to distribute them. The numbers are set pretty much in stone by the state, and it's going to be even higher because of what the governor's doing. He's wanting to build almost 4 times the amount of housing that is being required now. That's going to put a strain on us. But what was impressive about today was there was an opportunity for a roundtable discussion, and he promised more to come. So if I was able to say anything that made a little bit of an impact, I'm hoping that that did. And I know there's good work being done at SCAG by our representatives down there, and I hope they continue to do that because equitable is what's important for us. The problem we have is the formula that's there today, and how do we combat that in the future. So the discussion started. There was a media press conference about it with the LA News, a lot of LA News people there. So I think there's a lot of focus on housing, and the governor's not going to go away on this. This is one of his platforms. So I always work when I represent our city as a partner and not my political stance. So I went down there to partner with the state of California to make sure that our voice was heard and they understood who we are as a small city, and I think it was heard today. So.